Testing. Test. Okay. We should be live. Are we live on your end?
I don't see anything.
I'll just delete that other one. Yes, we are live. We're live on your channel. I don't know if we're live on mine or not, but it is what it is. Yes, we are live on my channel and we're live on your channel. Yours has the title, mine does not. That's okay.
All right, well, let me pull it up on my computer here. I see us.
You see us?
I do.
All right. I think we
1 second, everybody.
delete my YouTube. Come back to it.
Good evening, bag holders and delusional folk. Good evening, Redemption. I'm sorry to hear that you're a bag holder.
Yeah, I'm live on mine too. We're good.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we're back. We had some technical difficulties, but I think we figured it out. So I got the Bitcoin chart on the screen here, and I should be able to move that. All right, so let me give my thoughts, because Alex sort of gave his thoughts. My thoughts are this went lower than I expected. I did see a scenario where Bitcoin went to 78,000. That's what we've done. I'm still encouraged though by the um, by the altcoins. A lot of the altcoins are making higher lows. Um, we're near the 200, and what structurally to me this is a back test of the prior range. This has always been a possibility, but I didn't necessarily think that it was going to happen. But this idea that it's just like, oh, pack it up for 4 more years, like I'll see you in 2028 is crazy. Um, Structurally, the video that I put out the other day is still true. This is a deep. This is definitely a deep spring, and what I said yesterday, I still think to be true. I'm gonna put this over here. Is I'm not as necessarily as bullish on Bitcoin. Like we need a reversal to happen. If we're going to get a Stark one, it would need to still come in the next um, 1 to 8 days at this point. But when we look at the total two, it's a higher low. A lot of the altcoins are still having a higher low, and as long as that holds, the moment that I kind of think that this is personally, it's a mix between the moment which we've been talking about of the reaccumulation schematic. It went about 5% deeper than I anticipated for Bitcoin specifically, but very quietly, the altcoins have held very well. A lot of the meme coins has held well. The altcoins have held very well. And this is my theory from yesterday when I made my video. Is I was thinking, was there ever a moment where Bitcoin broke into a new all-time high and then got a 30+% correction, getting near the back test of the prior range? And there was. It was right here. And we've talked about this. And, this is actually when alt season like really properly started. So that was a 30% correction. We went from 41,000 all the way back down to 28,000. And nobody had that on their bingo cards. And the interesting thing that happened during this time, if we were to pull up the total three, which I already have it up, which is good, you'll see that the first initial plunge on this right here. So we make this like pretty even for the total 2 and the total and Bitcoin. So we got Bitcoin on the top, and we got the total 3, which is what I would kind of measure as the altcoins. And this is what I want to continue to see play out.
Can you turn up the volume a little bit?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's better now.
This is what I want to continue to see play out for Bitcoin. So this is the same time frame right here. So on the top is Bitcoin. This is December of 20 through February of 2021. December of 20 through February 21. Bitcoin makes an all-time high. The total 3 makes an all-time high. When you had your first initial pullback in Bitcoin, it was a lot deeper for the altcoins. And that's kind of what we saw the first, like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, whenever it was, with the big scary it might have been the United States selling their Bitcoin. I don't remember what the event was. But the first initial pullback for the altcoins was actually a lot deeper back here. So it was a 27% correction for Bitcoin. And then this, from the top to the bottom, was a 37% correction. And what we started to have was Bitcoin was sliding more during this time. And so this was the transition into the proper alt season. So Bitcoin was skidding more. It had a little recovery back to 39. Well, I mean, a decent recovery from 30 to 39. And then it rolled over and continued to make lower lows and lower lows. But at the same time that this was happening, the total 3 started to make higher lows. And then eventually it was, so this was during the same time here. It started to make higher lows, and this is when the proper alt season was. So I'm not trying to inject like hopium. This definitely went deeper than what I anticipated. And also what I think has happened was, people have talked about it, but the CME gap at 78,000, I theorized that we would get it after the bull market, but we didn't. We went all the way back to that CME gap at 78,000. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily as bullish on Bitcoin. I mean, I haven't been for a while, but a lot of the altcoins I think are holding up very, very well, and we are still looking for signs of a reversal. But I think that this is kind of a similar moment that we had. One thing that I'm looking at is like the RSI on Bitcoin is the lowest it's been since the war in Israel. So we haven't been this low since the war in Israel kicked off, and before then it was like Luna going to 0. So that we're in the same sort of territory for Bitcoin, and I don't know about the total too, but it's definitely low. So we need to see the total 2 and the altcoins sort of hold their lows. And I'm not ready to bail from the spring theory just yet. But it definitely went deeper than what I anticipated for Bitcoin. But this idea that 4 years, like, that's nonsense.
Yeah. So Devin and I have, I would say, slightly different opinions, and not entirely, but I'm just more agnostic. I'm just there's so much opportunity in either direction right now because volatility is very high, which is what you would want as a trader. And so when I think about the positions that I've set up, yesterday I looked at the charts and I set up 3 longs and something like 10 shorts. I closed 2 of those, only 2 of my shorts filled. I closed them this morning. All 3 of my longs filled. One of them was on Bitcoin, right just a little bit under the 200-day moving average. And, it didn't work out amazing for me in one regard. I ended up making a gain on that trade. But what happened is it went below the 200-day. It filled. I was down big, and then it shot up and got above the 200-day moving average. And then I took out half of my position and then set a limit or set a stop loss. And then that stop hit. And so I ended up winning on that. But then also on Solana, I set a long on Solana at around $126. And that one filled. And now Solana's at 144 or something. But I'm just honestly, personally for me, I've been shorting more than longing, and I'm going to continue to do that until we see some kind of a sign of a reversal, and then pull the mic back a bit. Okay. And then when we see a reversal, which we will, I'm going to be longing more than I'm shorting. And so when will that happen? I don't know, but one thing that I agree with 100% on with Devin is this idea that it's over until 2028 is absolute nonsense. I mean, Devin and I have had different thoughts on what 2025 would look like, but I've been abundantly clear that for me, the time that I'm going to be most bullish is when monetary policy is more favorable, and the idea that wouldn't happen between now and 2028 is absurd. I wish we had talked about this before. There's an interesting chart that I've seen making the rounds, and that is comparing Bitcoin to M2 money supply on a much shorter time frame than I've ever seen. And what you would see if you would see this like on a daily time frame, and good luck pulling it up because I've had a hard time pulling it up, Devin, is Bitcoin kind of lagging M2. And so the chart that I've seen making the rounds is showing M2 about a month or two ahead of Bitcoin. And what you see with M2 is exactly how if it's perfectly correlated. Well, it's not perfectly correlated, but if it was with M2 going down to a point where if Bitcoin was perfectly correlated with it, Bitcoin would go to about $78,000. And then do you know what's next? What's next for M2 on a daily time frame? And M2 again is about a month or two ahead of Bitcoin. Is something like this up. So it'll be interesting to see. It's been going stride for stride with M2. It'll be interesting to see where that goes next. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, if you want to see the chart that I'm talking about, I'm going to retweet that on my X account right now within a minute here, and then you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So,
yeah, I'm very bullish right now. I think that things went deeper than what I anticipated for Bitcoin specifically, but I've been saying for a while that Bitcoin is not the play anymore. Maybe we get to 138,000, maybe we get to 207,000 if we're lucky. I mean, that's just not the play. That's not why you're in the most risky asset in the world. But I do think it's a similar. I'll bail on the Wyckoff reaccumulation structure if in 1 week from now, if we haven't gotten to $94,000. That's when I would say, that's when I would be like, okay, that has been invalidated. But for right now, we're on top. We're near the 200 moving average. We're at the bottom of the range for the parallel channel. Also, the altcoins. The thing that is like really glaring to me is the altcoins are making, not every single one of them. You know, you're not going to go like, 100% of them, but there's a huge significant portion of them that are making higher lows. And if that continues to hold and we, dare I say, even get a higher high, my God, it would definitely be the 2021 Bitcoin makes a all-time high, breaks out, back tests violently. Everyone thinks that the bull market's over, and then you actually go into the actual alt season, which we've been hearing forever that there's not going to be an alt season. So I am very bullish right now. And I think I would say, like, to the people, obviously the best thing in hindsight to have done here was to have Alex's move where he, sold at 108, 109,000, sold 40% of his crypto, in hindsight, that was the play. But if you didn't make that, I think one of the worst things that you can do is like just sell at a loss when we're at maximum fear and the RSI is in the teens, and retail is leaving at a rapid rate. The reason that I sort of, I'm not going to say like rebuke that way of doing things, but I think that, Alex is different than, 99% of most people. And I think that most people have this idea in their head that they're going to be able to maneuver like this. And then it just doesn't work out. Most of the time what happens is they get wrong-footed. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like selling now, or what? I mean, I don't even want to talk about now. I mean, Bitcoin is at 84. It was at 78,000 like less than 12 hours ago. But selling at $78,000, selling into peak fear, I know, during euphoria, it just feels like it's never going to go down. And during this level of fear, when the fear and greed index is at 10, it feels like it's never going to go up. And I disagree with all of that. If I felt that way, I mean, I wouldn't have opened those longs. I would have just been 100% in shorts or trying to do shorts, and I would have been greedy in that regard, market shorts, not even waiting for limit orders to hit. So
one thing I would like to do maybe is sort of think about, okay, let's just play into what I do sometimes with my wife if I feel like she's catastrophizing a little bit is I'll say, okay, well, what's the best possible case scenario here? Like we win the lottery, we have a long lost uncle who had a gazillion dollars and we just inherited it, just in the euphoria of like nonsense. Okay. It's like, okay, well, let's do the nonsensical, like downside. Like what is the worst case possible, like meteor strikes, dinosaurs invade, like all this crazy anxiety stuff. And I think when you do that, you land somewhere in the middle, and that's the more probability of things of happening. But let's just let's be real and say it's different this time. It's broken. 4-year cycle's off to the bear market, like everyone is saying. To that, I would say, number one, the bottom is going to be 50, 60K. There's just too much support. If we were to get through there, which I don't see it personally, but if we really were to get through there, it's going to take a few tries, and you're going to have a few moves to the upside and back before that's going to happen. So in my opinion, the bear market low is 60K. That's where I'm going to be mostly out of dry powder. We might go to 50 if we're lucky, in my personal opinion. But also what that would mean is like, it really is different, and there really is no more 4-year cycle. And so this idea that we're going to have to wait until 2028, while Texas literally just passed the bill, like the bill is now passed the House and it is now moved on to the Senate, to get their Bitcoin strategic reserve, I think is a fallacy. I think it would be more in line with worst case scenario. Like worst case scenario, I think would be more in line with what Alex has been saying for 6 months now of 2026.
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario. If we're talking about worst case scenario, I'm open to any scenario.
I'm open to any scenario as well.
Yeah. My worst case scenario right now, and take this from somebody who, like, 2 months ago, 99% of you were calling me a bear. The worst case scenario in my head this entire time has been no alt season. We're going down. Where do we go down to with Bitcoin? I mean, I'll be very greedy at $73,000. I'll be very greedy at the top of the previous range, from where we were those 6 months. Not even the bottom of that range or the middle of that range. Like, I'll be greedy if we see Bitcoin at $73,000, and then I'll be buying a lot of crypto at that time. But the worst case scenario that's always been in my head has been, all right, 2024, forget about it. 2025, nothing significant happening beyond $108,000, but then like 2026, more so the stars aligning, and that's when, I'll be the pay attention and listen. This cryptocurrency is going to 100x and all of that stuff, So,
by the way, let me be clear. I don't necessarily even think that that's what's happening. I do think that we're going to have a pretty strong move in the next month or so. So I know I might sound like I'm just being gloom and doom. I'm just playing into it. Like, what's the worst case scenario here? I think it's what's Alex been saying of like 2025 is no good. By the way, if we go to 70, like I'm a man of my word. I said 118 before 70. I will shave my beard. I will be accountable. I don't think that we're going that low, and I am with Alex. If we do get into the low 70s, like I'm going to be extremely bullish and like greedy. I would be looking to sell some things to buy some crypto at that point.
I was just reading some comments here. Calvin Hill is cooked. I have no idea. Do you watch any Calvin Hill?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. People ask me like, "Who do you watch?" It's like
Yeah.
I don't. I want my own opinions.
I agree with you 100% on that. I don't know anything that Calvin Hill says. I kind of wish if I could replay 2024, I would have not listened to a single person other than just like, thinking through my own analysis. I got, it's hard when so many people are saying like, as soon as the clock strikes midnight on January 1st, we're going on rockets to the moon in 2025, the post-halving year, because that's how it's always happened. And there's always those questions of, well, what if everyone else is right? And yeah, so I have no idea. I know all that I know about what Calvin Hill says is like what you guys have said, and I from what you guys have told me, he said that alt season was supposed to start in February, and here we are on February 28th. I mean, it's always easy to look back on that and be like, oh, Calvin Hill, you're so dumb. But like, if you put a gun to my head in December of 2024 and asked me if I thought we'd be in alt season by February or by the end of February, I would have said yes. That would have been my bias at the time. And so, all right, Calvin Hill's cooked, whatever, let's move on.
When people ask me, what do I think about X person? My answer is always, I don't. I don't think about them at all. What I know about Calvin is he was here in the bear market and he was making content. And that's what I would like point people to is like, who was here when it sucked and what were they saying? And, that's what I would say. But I don't watch other people because I want to live and die by my own sword. If I'm going to be wrong, it's because I had the incorrect synopsis, and I'm going to be okay with that. But I'm not going to be wrong because I was influenced by someone else.
All right. What else? I'm sorry. I'm looking at, I guess I can be the comment guy. I have it on my computer here.
Yeah.
People are just mad they didn't take profits in December. I mean, listen, I wasn't looking forward to going live today because I remember Wednesday, I expressed my frustration to Devin. There's a lot of angry commenters, and I mean, yeah, I don't listen. Here's something that I'll say. I bought a stock in 2011. You can look up the ticker, WRN. I bought it at $3.68, and I still hold that stock. And the reason why I bought that stock, it's a copper miner. They mine copper and gold, but mostly copper. The reason why I bought that stock is because a friend of mine was absolutely convinced it was going to $20. I bought it at $3.68, and And I still hold, like I did say, I still hold that stock. I have not, since the day that I bought it, even today, been up on that stock. I'm still down on that stock. This was 2011. This 14 years ago that I bought that stock. And you know, one thing that I've never done, I've never gone to the person who was so convinced that that stock was going to go to $20 and like stuck my finger in his face and say, how dare you? I've taken responsibility for my own actions. And so there's a lot of people who are angry right now, and we all, you have to take responsibility for your own decisions. No matter, you want to listen to people who you think can be helpful to you, then by all means do that. But at the end of the day, it's on you. I'm sorry, it's on you.
Yeah. I've been bullish for a while. But to be fair, most of the coins that I'm bullish on are still at their bottom of the range. So there's some things have definitely pulled back more. Like I think Rose has been one of my where I was bullish on that too early. Dynex was too early, but I also sold $3. I also sold XRP at $3.33, and I publicly put that out well before it happened. When it was happening, I said, and then even like it gave you a few weeks after at those same $3 prices. Same thing for XCN. So it's not like I'm just a permanent bull. When things get to my prices, then I exit. And I feel like most stuff I'm actually bearish too soon. Like SUI, I was bearish too soon. XRP, I was bearish too soon. XCN, I was bearish. I started being bearish on XCN at like 2.53 cents. I said it'll probably get to 4.5 cents, but it's already done a 10, 15x. Like, for the love of God, take profit. There's lots of coins like that. And, you know, there's going to be a phase when we go back into that. And I fully believe that, you know, as this market turns around, I'm going to be bearish too soon. And I'm going to miss 20, 30% of upside gains. And I'm okay with that. And if you're not, then, you know, maybe you don't listen to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Ski took profits and bought land. He's not angry. Yeah. I mean, even thinking about that. So like you commend me for taking 40% profits or whatever in December. You literally did the thing. You did the thing that like all of us want to do. You took profits very close to the peak on your XRP and you bought something that's not going to decrease in value as much as XRP decreases in value in the bear market. So you also took profit. I mean, even though you were bull the whole time. So
I'm still a bull.
Yeah,
I'm still a bull on altcoins. Like I'm very encouraged by the higher low structure. Well, the higher lows on most of the altcoins.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the upside potential, downside risk is very much there. And, you know, for the XRP, it wasn't like I was a wizard and I just like, you know, I got this crazy indicator that just was like, oh my God, you got to sell right now. What really happened was I made a plan at 50 cents when I was stacking XRP every single week. I had a plan as to when I was going to take action. And I actually went above my plan. Like my plan was to do 30%, and I did 40% because the land that we got was out of my budget. So I ended up doing 40% instead of 30%. But that wasn't because of – that was just because that was my goal, was to have land.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't because I had this crazy like lightning indicator that only I have and I'll sell it to you for the right price. That's not what happened. It was really like I made a plan when things were boring, and I just stuck with that plan. And I felt a lot of social pressure of people wanting me to move the goalposts on XRP and saying, just like they were telling you of like how silly you were for selling.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that with XRP. I definitely felt that a lot. You know, in hindsight, I should have done more, but that's okay because I do think that XRP gets to $5 to $8. But
yeah. So what happens now? What's the game plan? I mean, we kind of did already talk about that. I mean, if we're going to boil it down to the simplest terms, I think Devin and I might have a little bit different game plans. Let me just say this: Bitcoin is just in the middle of of something. It lost its support. It's could it go down to the top of the previous range, or is this a protruded spring and in the bottom? I'm just gonna follow the market on that. But the game plan right now is for me to look for good entries on longs and on shorts. And with the longs, it's mostly just going to be spot buys. On the shorts, it's going to be maybe like 2x leverage. I don't do high leverage on my shorts. And right now, my bias is to follow the trend of the market, which, are we in an uptrend or a downtrend? You can say that we're at the early stages of altcoins putting in higher highs, or at least the total higher lows, or at least the total altcoin market cap is doing that. So what that means is, I've been shorting more than I've been longing. That means I'm going to be more cautious with my shorts. I'm just going to be more cautious all around.
Caution is your friend. Right?
Yeah, but all I see right now is opportunity, and I'm going to take that opportunity to make money in the direction, whatever direction we're heading. So that's where I stand.
So where I stand is, Alex kind of alluded to it. It's one of two things for Bitcoin. It's either a more violent move than what we anticipated spring, and I'm not willing to move off of that until the time frame has passed, which is about 8 more days. If we don't get to 93 by 8 days from now, then I will move off of that.
Yeah.
That is still where I'm leaning towards pretty strongly. And then option B is we're back testing the prior range. So for Bitcoin, either way, for Bitcoin, to me, it's not the play. The play is, for me personally, is spot accumulation on the coins that are at their bear market lows with good tokenomics. That is the play right now. And caution, either way you go, is going to be your friend. There's going to be lots of volatility between now and I would say mid-March for sure. We have I'm getting a cramp. I worked on the farm pretty hard yesterday, and I might be a little dehydrated, but sorry. I just felt that in my hamstring. Charlie horse. Yeah. Anyways, man, I lost my train of thought there. The altcoins is where I'm at. Caution is your friend. Spot is what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to be doing a lot of leverage trading right now, and that's just a personal thing. It's not even about I don't think that you can leverage trade right now. It's more like I'm building a fence and I'm doing a lot of other things, and I'd rather just accumulate at low prices and not use the bandwidth on it right now.
Yeah, I mean, with trading, you have to be you can't be distracted.
Yes.
So
and I have a lot of stuff that I'm doing. So for me, I'm going to be spot buying, and it's going to be the coins that are low to no inflation, good tokenomics at their bear market lows with the higher low structure. These are all the plays to me.
Yeah. Redemption sold 80% in December. Redemption's been very kind this live stream. Why not? Because you sold 80% in December. So yeah, I'm sure you're happy. So good call for you. Losing the 200-day is a big deal, but that being said, daily stochastic is so oversold. Cody, we're actually above the 200-day for Bitcoin right now. So I would agree with you that overnight, I was like, man, we just sliced through that 200-day moving average like butter. But then, we came back and that dip was bought pretty aggressively. So we'll see about that.
Well, that is why one of the reasons that I'm bullish, because it's very rare on almost any asset do you see the first time you test the 200 that you wreck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so this is the first time we're testing it. And I would think that, this perhaps is a pretty strong fake out because we did go below it. And that's sort of how the apex predator likes to go things. Where are the stop losses? Where is the lines that people draw? Where is the numbers? And then they'll go right below it or right above it. And then next thing you know, things turn over. So yeah, the 200, the fact that we're finding support off of that, we went below it as, you know, maybe it's a little Barry Sanders juke move.
I mean, so one thing that I would say in response to that, more so, like there is something I think is more important than the 200-day, and that's the 50-week. Because I'm looking at the chart on my computer right now. We lost the 200-day during that previous range, when the range we were in for 200 days between $50,000 and $73,000. We lost it for a few weeks, and then we reclaimed it. But it wasn't over when we lost the 200-day. The 50-week, we went right down to the 50-week and held that as support. You want to talk about being bearish. If we lost the 50-week and had some daily closes below it, I would think that we're done for several months. And so I don't know exactly where the 50-week is right now, but it's something worth paying attention to for sure.
I think, let me be clear on my position too. I'm open-minded to Bitcoin going lower. 78 was like sort of the thing that I drew as like, here's a CME gap. I see a reason why we go there. Bitcoin isn't the play for me, but I do think the total 3 and the total 2, the altcoins, which everyone has been saying is we're cooked on. That to me is, we're going to make now I'm not going to say like it's going to do the total 3 is going to do a 5x from here or a 10x from here, but I do see like a pretty substantial move in between now and May still, and maybe that's 40%, maybe it's 60%, but I see a substantial move for that between now and May. And then I think that things are going to be boring for probably like 6 months again. And then we'll see what happens in late 2025, early 2026.
Yeah. If Powell comes on next FOMC in March and says we'll go with QT, is that bullish? Zed, I think you mean QE, and it's very unlikely that we're going to have quantitative easing in March. And so I'll move on from that. Do you think we can go into a recession? We can always go into a recession. I in particular have been very cautious in thinking that we would enter a recession sometime in 2025, late 2025. But one thing that I will admit is my timing. Things just move at a different pace than whenever I expect. I remember in 2022 thinking that everything, all this stuff was going to happen by 2024. I mean, that was 2022. So within 2 years, it's taken longer to play itself out as it is right now. So any thoughts on either of those? I mean, you're more a chart guy, so.
Yeah, well, and I'll say too, like a weakness of mine, I've said this, like, man, I see stuff painfully in advance a lot of times. Like I'll see it, and sometimes I'll see it and I'll move off of it because it's like, and then it happens. And maybe this is one of those scenarios we did talk about, like, when we first got to 100, like going back to 78, back testing the prior range, retail going to be ready for that, and I kind of moved off of it. So I think that that's a weakness of mine as a technical analyst, is I will see setups painfully in advance, and it takes too long, and then I kind of move off of it, and then it's like it happens. It's like, but as far as like fundamentals go, as far as like recession, economy, things like that, it's from my perspective, it's what I do with TA, but times 10. Whatever the time frame you think it's going to happen, it moves way slower.
Yeah.
The best bear of all time was Michael Burry, and he started shorting in 2005 and, was wrecked for 2.5 years before he was actually correct. So the economy definitely moves way slower than what we as TA people or traders would like.
Side point, by the way, Michael Burry was reckless. That was an incredibly stupid decision that he made, and the people in his fund had every right to be furious with him. Just my 2 cents on Michael Burry, but
like if me and you did that, we would be liquidated.
Yeah, but
he had billions of dollars. That is the apex predator in a sense. Like he was the apex predator. Like he was using institutional funds to do this, and yeah, if it would have been me or Alex who would have shorted in 2005, we would have been liquidated.
Yeah. Excuse me. All right, this is the perfect opportunity for big players to pump the market and make a lot of people FOMO and dump to bear market. We'll see. You know what? Like I said, I'm open to any possibility. Devin's open to any possibility. You know, what would that level be? Is the question. All right, let's say that you're right, Big Rob 318. What would that level be? I've already on my chart drawn a fib from where we were when we almost hit $100,000 last Friday to the bottom yesterday at 78,000. And I've kind of had a thought about that. Maybe the 618 retrace would be that level. The 618 is coincidentally, as I'm looking at it,
93.
Very close. Is it 93? So you already looked at that too. Yeah. It's very close to where to the bottom of the previous range. Yeah. So no matter what, there's going to be a lot of resistance there. Right. No matter what happens, the first time we get up there, I'm going to look for opportunities to short Bitcoin, not for the bear market, but for just an opportunity to make some quick gains. So we'll see. You're not right or wrong until we see what happens when we get back up to that level.
One thing that's interesting that I have pulled up on the chart for YouTube is the DXY. It's having a pretty big move, and I would say is at the bottom, like you said with Bitcoin. There's a lot of resistance that it's going to need to get through here. So are we setting up for a potential rollover? Is this distribution for the DXY? Are we having like a 618 retracement move going to the bottom of what would be resistance and rolling back over? Because again, it was the 200, or this was the 50 actually, or the 100. But again, like it's pretty rare, especially for like slow movers like this. This isn't crypto. This is DXY. It's rare to go through these moving averages the first time. You almost never see it. So we'll see. We'll see. Like the DXY, I think is going to be a big player. I haven't looked at the Bitcoin dominance.
It's just been, it's 60.92. It's just hanging around.
Yeah, I think, man, here's what I'm going to say about this. The fact that where it's at, let me pull it up so that we can all see it. The fact of where it's at, people are going to think I'm just a perma-bull. I'm not. I promise I'm not. The second that things get to certain levels or like, do a 5X in a day or whatever, I get bearish all the time. Man, the fact of where this is at on the macro, and it's just chopping here. This is the macro 702 where it's at, and it's in between the 702 and the 618 on the macro for Bitcoin dominance. The fact that Bitcoin is hanging out here, Bitcoin dominance is hanging out here, and the altcoins are holding. I don't know, man. This might be distribution for real. This might be your up thrust. This might be your buying climax right here. Your automatic reaction, your up thrust. We'll see. If that's the case, like we got some work to do. We're not going to Hades tomorrow, but that could be what's at play right now.
Let's hope so. Can we get some ETH TA? So ETH looks disgusting right now. There's no denying that. It's one thing that I will say is I pulled up my chart, and this is a level that I drew a long time ago, and I looked back. I think it's the 2023 peak is $2,133, and if you look at Ethereum. You can see that big liquidation that happened the weekend of the tariffs. It went down exactly to that level. It went down a little bit below there. It went down to 21.25. I said 21.33 was the level. Yesterday, it went down to 20.70. If I had been paying attention to Ethereum, I would have set a low leverage long at 21.33. Right now it's at 22.16. If I was paying attention, I wasn't paying attention, I would have been up on that. That seems like, a good level. My assumption over the next week is that we would go down to around 21.33 and just hang around there, build up some support, and then climb from there. But we'll see. So what do you think?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say about Ethereum. I think we're just filling out this wick right here.
Yeah.
We're on top of a lot of support. Like you had mentioned, we're on top of all this support over here. So the likelihood that we just crash through this, I think, is low. But
very
also,
low.
On the flip side, we are in the most bearish posture. So I don't think that this is, I don't know. We got to get above the 200, which is 300, 3,000. And then this would also mean that we got to get above, all of this right here. This is now going to be resistance that we got to get through. So we'll see. I don't think that I think that the downside, you're lucky to get below 2,000 if you can. I don't know that it's going to do that. I think we're just filling out the wick. We'll see if the spring is true, then this is a pretty big setup. But it needs to get going in the next week or so.
Yeah.
But 3,000 is where I want to see it start holding daily candles above to be back in bullish posture. It's definitely not in bullish posture.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even just it's in a downtrend. It's in a clear downtrend. It would need to climb a decent amount to get rejected if you were to draw a downtrend line. Even so, that would make me think that it's worth nibbling away at short term at least. So let's see. Ski, how long you been an investor? And Alex, for me, after the great financial crisis 2010, I got really into investing, but.
Investing in general or crypto?
Just as an investor, yeah.
Just as an investor. I'd say I got serious about investing in 2015. 2015 is when I got serious and I started reading all the Robert Kiyosaki books. And I got pretty obsessed with real estate. Probably about 2015. 2014 was the first time I ever had crypto. But I was an idiot. I was fresh out of high school. I didn't know anything about life. I didn't know anything about anything. And I just was random that I had any Bitcoin. It was like I was playing a stupid rocket ship gambling game. It's like if it goes up 1x, 2x, you 2x your money. But if it blows up, it will blow up. And if you blow up and your money is still on there, well, your money blew up. And that was the stupid game that I was playing when I was 18 or 19 years old.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'd say I got serious 2015. I got really serious 2016. I round tripped all my crypto. I was buying crypto in 2016 a lot, and because I was active duty at this time. And I round tripped it. Dash still down to this day on Dash to this day. So I round tripped all that, but in 2018, that's when I sort of made the shift to really learning about the blockchain, really honing in on my TA skills. And 2021 was a good bull market for me. I made a lot of realized gains, not even just theorized gains. I sold most of my crypto around $50,000 for Bitcoin, so I didn't get the top.
Yeah, that's the
enough.
goal.
And then I started nibbling away at Bitcoin and crypto again when we started getting into the 30K range, and I started being aggressive under 20K.
Nice.
So that's my average price on Bitcoin is $5,000. So
I can't say the same. But I'm not even going to go into my history. I bought my first Dogecoin. My first crypto was Dogecoin. I bought it 2 weeks after it launched in 2013. And then I held it on some garage door exchange or whatever you call that thing, and it got hacked. And then fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I did it a second time, and the second exchange got hacked. So
not your keys, not your crypto.
yeah, that was a lesson that I learned in 2013, and I round tripped my $50 investment that would probably be worth like $50,000 right now. But anyway, so BlackRock adds own Bitcoin ETF to model portfolio lineup. I have no idea what that means. Do you know what that means? No idea.
No idea.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
So every time Bitcoin pulls back 20 to 60%, it's over. So it's been over 8 times in the last year. I understand the sentiment behind that comment. I just, what do you say about altcoins? What do you say about Ethereum is down this quarter? First quarter of the post-halving year, it's down like 30%, maybe a little bit more than that right now. If you look at first quarter of the post-halving year in 2021 and 2017, 2021, it was up, it closed the quarter up like 150%. 2017, it closed that quarter up like 500%. So that's not anything, that's not to say anything other than the environment is different, and we have to acknowledge that. And the sooner you acknowledge that, the sooner you can adjust and make huge gains by adapting to the market. And please, let's live in the world that we're in right now. You can do well. You can do very well still. So, anything to add?
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna hold on. And see where things go in the next couple of weeks, and then I'm gonna let the market lead me.
Yes, me too. Neither of us are saying it's over, by the way,
and so both bullish.
Yeah, you might be. What do we say? I mean, like if you're hearing a different tone, it's weird going live with Devin right now because Devin is, somebody used the name Ski Bull. Sure. You know what? Devin's more bullish than I am. I'm fully willing to admit that. But like, I forgot. I lost my entire train of thought. Never mind.
There's been plenty of coins that I've been bearish on.
Yeah.
Like for the last, 3-4 months now. Plenty of coins. Like I've been bearish on Sui the whole time. I actually think it's probably at a decent level again. Yeah. I've been bearish on Land Wolf. When it was at the 4236 Fibonacci extension, I was bearish on XRP. I was bearish on XEN. I've been bearish on plenty of coins. But I just look for risk to reward. And right now, to me, the risk is still fairly low relatively, and the reward is fairly high.
Yeah, I remembered what I was going to say. Here's something that we both agree on right now. If in 8 days, Bitcoin's above what, 93,000?
93 is
I fully agree with Devin on that. That I will personally be thinking that this was a spring. It's just the spring was just like a terrifying spring, So we're on the same page with that.
And the COVID spring, you know what I mean? Like that was a terrifying spring. That's where I'm still at with it, and that's what I'm trying to articulate. I don't want anyone to think that I'm bearish because I'm not. If 8 days or so we're not there, then we need to reevaluate, and I need to come up with a new thesis. As people would say, moving the goalpost is to changing your mind based off of new data. But,
yeah.
That's where I'm at with it. Like I just think it's a violent spring, and confirmation would be 93K between now and the next 8 days. And what would deny it would be if that doesn't happen.
All right. What state are y'all in right now? New Mexico.
We're actually live from Mars.
I don't know. I feel fine. I don't know. I'm always a little hesitant. We're not, what's funny? We are both in a state that we don't live in right now. Wait, you wouldn't say you live in this state, do you?
Not yet.
Yeah, you don't live in this state yet. So I don't prefer to share personal information like that. But We're not in New Mexico. I will say that. So 49 options left.
Yeah, I'm here working on my farm. So
Yeah. Some of you might be able to put pieces together. I don't know how much Devin shared about that. So same is happening with us now. Bag holders, not sure. That was in reference to a previous comment. You only lost $50 on Doge. Yes, correct. I only lost $50 on Doge, technically. Whoever said that. Anyway, he to 3 cents. Which scenario will go up, or just bag holders been holding since June? He to 3 cents. You know, we get the thing that I was saying with that was an altcoin, a Bitcoin dominance move down to the lower 50s. I believe that he will go to 3 cents.
Same.
And Solnick maybe, you know, and who knows, you know, best case, what's the best case scenario? Like you ask your wife, we see a full blown alt season. I think he and Solnick are going to go much higher than 3 cents.
Yeah.
So.
Same thing, by the way, 7.5 cents by the end of the bull market, whenever that is, or I'll shave my beard. So sooner or later, this bull market or the next.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to read every comment that I'm seeing here. Any thoughts on selling in May and go away? Should be true sentiment now.
So if that's the case, then what we're going to see is a violent move to the upside between now and then. Like I said, 40 to at least 40% on the total 3, total 2. If that is the case, if the sentiment holds true, which I don't see why it wouldn't be, then we're going to see a violent move to the upside. And then I've kind of talked about this a little bit too. The seller may go away is not necessarily meaning that we're just going to crash to Hades.
Yeah.
Even like we're getting right now, I don't think. What it means generally for crypto is it's boring for like 6 months of just like in the washing machine.
Yeah. I mean, think about May, after May of 2024, like June, July, August, that was torture. And the reason why it was torture is because like any of us who were around at that time, we saw little hope for anything exciting to happen for months. I mean, the general sentiment is like, all right, you know, you get through, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, the summer, and then September is usually not a good month. It's usually flat or down. And September of 2024 was the best month in Bitcoin's history, the best September of Bitcoin's history, but it was still torture. And then after that, we have some excitement, and that's exactly what happened in 2024. And so no matter what happens, my mindset is like, it's just going to be a drag, man. It's not going to be anything exciting, nothing. You're not going to make life-changing gains between May and September. You're just gonna have to go through the grind of all right, what do I do now? I guess I'll hold.
I actually think it's a good DCA time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because if you look at 2021, if for Bitcoin specifically, or like the altcoins, you know,
that was perfect.
It was just like, you know, like relatively, if you take the high to the May to the end of September, basically, you know, with all the ups and all the downs, you closed 10% to the upside, which is like a whole year of stock market gains. That's what you did for Bitcoin. There were some moments when you were down. There were some moments when you were up a little bit more, but that's basically what happened. And, you know, maybe it's 12% to the downside, whatever. But I just think it's just going to be boring either way you go. Maybe it's slightly to the up, maybe it's slightly to the down. But, yeah, so November is when it really started to kick off. I need to make this better. Yeah. So, yeah, here we go. So this is like, if we're talking what I've theorized a little bit, that this is a similar violent spring, especially with the altcoins, and most of the altcoins have held this pullback right here. You have a move to the upside into May. So right in here is May. And this for the Bitcoin was I think it was a 1x, 1.25x. So maybe you call it 50%, and maybe it's not a full 1x. Like maybe you're like, well, the market cap's too big, whatever. Okay, I'll buy that. So maybe it's 40% between now and May. Then basically, when you look at this, just at the, it was 10% to the upside by the time you got into October. But there was some moves to the downside that were worse than this. But when it was all said and done, you were trading sideways, and basically you were at a 10% gain for that whole entire time frame. And that's kind of what I anticipate. I think it's just going to be boring.
Yeah. You guys realize Bitcoin went up 100% in 30 days in November. It can do it again. Yes, it can.
It certainly can.
Oh, yeah.
That wouldn't shock me, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
If tomorrow Texas passes their stuff in the Senate, guess what? Everyone's saying that, oh, good morning, bag holders. Well,
yeah.
Good morning. I don't even know what's the opposite of a bag holder. People watching the plane leave, I guess.
A couple of questions. Why 8 days in particular?
That's just a spring. If you're going to call it a proper spring, it needs to be about 10 days. And we've had about 2 days. If it's an actual spring, you need to start moving within 10 days. So that's why. And it's been 2.
Okay. Anything less than 100 million market cap for He and Solnick is FUD. Thank you, Lavi. Lavi's great. I don't know if you know who Lavi is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Big supporter.
I agree. I mean, again, like me and Alex, we're going to be at this. Like, are you going to ever stop making videos?
Nope.
Same.
I'll take a break. I'll take a vacation.
Yeah.
Some of you.
I might work on the farm a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'll still be making farm videos. I might make some sports videos, but I'll still be making videos. And I'm never going to stop making content about crypto because I like helping people to realize their dreams and goals. And, most of my people are not, and I think this is true for your audience too. It's not like people who want a Lamborghini and this fast lifestyle and trade from a beach on a laptop and this whole like Forex thing. It's mostly like truck drivers, farmers, teachers,
sure.
moms. And it's mostly people like that. And these are the people that I like to help through this. And I have a passion for helping regular people. And so I'm going to continue to do that. And Solnick is going to be at the forefront of that until I die.
So I've said this plenty of times. I'll say it again. Like, there's always euphoria. There's always market cycles. There's always times of euphoria and despair. We have not yet in 2024 or 2025 had a moment that I would define as euphoria. March of 2024 was probably the most exciting time. I would not define that as euphoria by crypto standards. It was kind of like a 3 out of 10 in terms of the intensity. When euphoria comes, and this is the difference between he and Solnick and every other meme coin, is like, we will be here. We will be ready to strike when the parabolas are in place. I think a lot of faces of crypto, whether they're public or anonymous, their eggs are all in the basket of like, it has to happen now. It has to happen in 2025 at least. If it doesn't happen in 2025, they're done. You don't have that with us. No. And that's why you hold he and Solnick. Okay, it's why. Go ahead.
That's real. Like, and one thing that I always preach against, it's like what we were talking about with Calvin earlier. It's like,
yeah,
you should measure an influencer, a content creator, especially a crypto creator, by how they are. Do they show up in the worst moments? And what was their sentiment during these worst moments? Because I promise you, drop shippers will be crypto influencers when Bitcoin gets above $110,000. There will be real estate agents who are now crypto influencers at $110,000. And that's what it's going to be. And you know what? I'm all for everyone being a creator. That's fine. But, there's levels to this. So yeah, there's levels to this, and be wary of the ones who just show up out of the like the meme where they're hiding in the sewer and they're like, oh, we're back above all time highs. Time to start making crypto content again.
Yeah.
Be wary of those people.
The only reason, I mean, this happened to me in 2022. I had to sell all of my crypto to put a huge down payment on a house because my daughter was sick, and so I made a lot. I barely made content in 2022. The only reason why I wouldn't be on here is if a similar situation like that happened, to where I had to do whatever it took to provide for my family. Otherwise, here I am.
I mean, you were still making content though, and you were still bullish in 2022.
Oh yeah. I was. I mean, I wasn't making a ton of content. I was regularly checking in. I was making content, but I had other things I had other priorities. So
yeah, for me, my family is first. If something happens with my family, that would be. I would definitely have to take a step back, but I would still, upload, check in. But yeah, we'll be making content for the next 20 years and working on our craft of content and crypto for the next 20 years.
Yeah. I personally, I think we're at a good stopping point, especially because my battery on my computer is about to die and I won't be able to read the comments. But if you have any other thoughts or...
like, subscribe, follow us on everything. Whoopsies. We'll never message you. That's somebody from Pakistan or Kakistan. That's not us. Yeah. So when I move to my farm, we might be able to do some more in person, and we might set up something.
And we'll work out the kinks.
Yeah, this is definitely a kink day, but
yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Either way, we'll be back live. I didn't even hit up. I was so busy driving and stuff, but whatever. It's okay.
What?
I didn't even hit up Alvaro.
Oh yeah, we'll see. So.
But either way, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll be live. We'll never message you, and we're never going away.